The cell was not a cell. That was the first thing Marcus Cole learned when they brought him aboard the Velkari mothership 3 years ago. The room had soft lighting, comfortable furniture, and even a window that showed the stars passing by. But the door only opened from the outside. The food came when they decided to bring it, and the guards stood watch every hour of every day. Marcus was a prisoner. The Velkari simply called him a diplomatic guest. He stood by the window now, watching a distant nebula glow purple and gold against the black emptiness of space. His beard had grown long in his time here. His hair touched his shoulders. The military uniform he once wore had been replaced by simple gray clothes the Velkari gave him, but his eyes remained sharp, his mind remained clear, and his patience remained strong. The door behind him opened with a soft hiss. Marcus did not turn around. He already knew who it was. Only one Velkari visited him regularly. "Human," said Queen Scythrix. Her voice was like dry leaves scraping against stone. "You are looking at the stars again." "They are beautiful," Marcus replied. He turned slowly to face her. The queen of the Velkari Empire stood 7 feet tall. Her body was covered in dark purple plates that looked like armor but were actually her skin. 4 arms extended from her torso, each ending in 3 clawed fingers. Her head was triangular, with large black eyes that reflected the light like polished glass. 2 antennae rose from her forehead, constantly moving, sensing things humans could not perceive. She was terrifying. She was also, Marcus had learned, very curious. "I do not understand your species," the queen said. She walked closer to him, her clawed feet clicking against the metal floor. "You find beauty in burning gas and cosmic dust. You create art and music. You form emotional bonds with animals that cannot speak. You are a strange creature, Marcus Cole." "Thank you," Marcus said. The queen made a sound that might have been laughter. It was not a compliment. "Your species wastes energy on things that do not help survival. This is why you are weak." Marcus said nothing. He had learned that silence was often the best response. The queen circled him slowly, studying him like a scientist might study an insect under glass. "I have conquered 17 species," she said. The Droth had claws that could cut through steel. The Minari could regenerate lost limbs in hours. The Scythans could read minds and control thoughts. All of them fell before my empire. She stopped in front of Marcus and leaned down until her face was close to his. Her breath smelled like copper and ash. "And then there are humans," she continued. "You have no claws, no armor, no venom, no telepathy. You cannot run fast or see in the dark. You cannot survive in cold or heat. You are soft. You are slow. You are fragile." She tilted her head. "Why do you exist at all?" Marcus met her gaze without fear. This was a question she had asked many times before in many different ways. She genuinely did not understand. In her world, survival belonged to the strong, and by every measure she knew, humans were not strong. "Perhaps we are lucky," Marcus said. "Luck is not real," the queen replied. "There is only power and weakness, predator and prey." She straightened and walked toward the window. "Your planet will soon learn this truth. My armada is nearly ready. In 6 of your months we will reach your solar system, and your species will join the others who kneel before the Velkari." Marcus felt a cold weight settle in his chest. He had known this was coming. The queen had not kept him alive out of kindness. She kept him alive to study humans, to learn their weaknesses, to prepare for the invasion. "You could send me back," Marcus said. "Let me warn them, let them prepare." The queen turned to look at him. Her black eyes showed no emotion. "Why would I do this?" "Because a fair fight would be more interesting." Again that dry laughing sound. "There will be no fight, human. There will be a surrender, or there will be an extinction. Those are the only choices your people will have." She walked toward the door, then paused. "I keep you alive because you amuse me, Marcus Cole. You sit in your cell day after day. You do not try to escape. You do not attack the guards. You do not scream or beg or cry. You simply wait." Her antennae twitched. What are you waiting for? Marcus looked at her calmly. I am learning. Learning what? Your language, your customs, your history, your weaknesses. The queen stared at him for a long moment. Then she laughed again, louder this time. You think you can find weakness in the Velkhari? We have ruled this region of space for 10,000 years. We have crushed every enemy who stood against us. We have no weakness. Everyone has weakness, Marcus said. The trick is knowing where to look. The queen shook her head. You are amusing, human, but you are also foolish. Your patience is not strength. It is simply a slow form of surrender. She pressed a button on the wall and the door slid open. Enjoy your stars. They are the last beautiful thing your species will ever see. She left. The door closed behind her. The guards took their positions outside. Marcus turned back to the window. The nebula still glowed in the distance. Somewhere beyond it, Earth was waiting. His family was waiting. His people were waiting. They did not know he was still alive. They did not know what was coming. But they would learn, and when they did, they would show the queen something she had never seen before. Marcus placed his hand against the cold glass of the window. His reflection stared back at him, soft, slow, fragile. He smiled. The queen thought she understood humans. She thought patience was weakness. She thought mercy was foolishness. She thought survival belonged only to those with claws and venom and armor. She was wrong. And one day soon, she would understand just how wrong she was. The observation deck of the Velkhari mothership was the size of a football field. Its curved walls were made entirely of transparent crystal, offering a view of space in every direction. Hundreds of Velkhari officers stood at their stations, monitoring screens and speaking in their clicking, hissing language. The air smelled of ozone and something bitter that Marcus had never been able to identify. Today, the view was different than usual. Earth hung in the darkness like a blue and white jewel. Marcus had not seen his home world in 3 years. Now it floated before him, so close he felt he could reach out and touch it. The oceans, the clouds, the green and brown patches of continents. It was more beautiful than he remembered. Around Earth, the Velkhari armada waited. 1,000 warships formed a sphere around the planet. Each ship was covered in dark purple armor, bristling with weapons that could level cities in seconds. The smallest of them was bigger than any vessel humans had ever built. The largest, the mothership where Marcus stood, was the size of a small moon. Queen Scythrix stood beside him, her 4 arms clasped behind her back. She watched Earth with those empty black eyes that revealed nothing. Your world is pretty, she said. Small but pretty. I can see why your species became so attached to it. Marcus did not respond. His eyes were fixed on the planet below. I am going to give your people a choice, the queen continued. She gestured to one of her officers, who pressed several buttons on a control panel. I am broadcasting now on all frequencies your species uses. Every human on that world will hear my words. She stepped forward, and her voice echoed through the observation deck, amplified by technology Marcus did not understand. People of Earth, the queen said, I am Scythrix, queen of the Velkhari Empire. My armada surrounds your planet. Your defenses are primitive. Your weapons are weak. You cannot defeat us. You cannot escape us. You have only 2 choices. Surrender unconditionally and join our empire as servants, or resist and face complete extinction. You have 1 hour to respond. The transmission ended. Silence filled the observation deck. The queen turned to Marcus with something that might have been a smile on her alien face. I brought you here so you could watch, she said. I want you to see your people make their choice. I want you to see them surrender. What if they do not surrender? Marcus asked. Then you will watch them die. The queen tilted her head. Either way, you will finally understand. Your species is not special. You are not survivors. You are simply prey that has not yet been caught. Marcus looked at Earth again. Somewhere down there, his daughter was waiting. She had been 12 years old when he left for the diplomatic mission that ended with his capture. She would be 15 now. Did she think he was dead? Did she remember his face? "You believe humans will surrender," Marcus said quietly. "Why?" The Queen made a dismissive gesture with one of her arms. "Because every species surrenders. The Droth fought for 6 days before they knelt. The Minari lasted 4. The Sithans surrendered without firing a single weapon once they saw the size of our fleet." She looked at Marcus with cold certainty. "Your species has no special powers, no natural weapons, no biological advantages. You will calculate the odds. You will see that victory is impossible, and you will make the logical choice. And if we do not, then you are even more foolish than I thought." Time passed slowly. Officers moved around the deck, monitoring sensors and weapon systems. The Queen stood perfectly still, patient as stone. Marcus watched Earth and waited. After 47 minutes, a signal came from the planet below. "We are receiving a response," one of the officers announced. The Queen straightened. "Display it." A screen appeared in the air before them, showing a human woman in a military uniform. She had gray hair, a lined face, and eyes that burned with cold fire. Behind her, flags from nations around the world hung on a wall. "I am Admiral Chen Wei," the woman said, "Supreme Commander of Earth's Combined Defense Force. I speak for all nations and all peoples of our world." The Queen stepped forward. "You have received my terms. What is your answer?" Admiral Chen's face did not change. Her voice did not shake. She spoke a single word. "No." The Queen's antennae twitched. "I do not think you understood my message. Surrender or face extinction. Those are your only options." "I understood perfectly," Admiral Chen replied. "My answer is no. We will not surrender. We will not kneel. We will not serve. If you want our world, you will have to take it from us, and we will make you pay for every inch of ground in blood." The transmission ended. For a long moment, nobody spoke. The Velkari officers looked at each other in confusion. This was not supposed to happen. Species did not refuse. Species did not challenge the Empire. It was not logical. It was not rational. The Queen turned to Marcus. Her face showed the first emotion he had ever seen on it: genuine surprise. "Your people are insane," she said. "My people are human," Marcus replied. "They will die, all of them. Do they not understand this?" Marcus looked at his home world, hanging blue and bright against the darkness. He thought about his daughter. He thought about his parents. He thought about the billions of people down there who had just chosen to fight against impossible odds. "Can I ask you a question?" he said. The Queen stared at him. "What?" "Have you ever wondered why humans have no natural weapons?" "Because you are weak." "No," Marcus met her eyes. "Because we never needed them. We did not grow claws because we learned to make knives sharper than any claw. We did not develop venom because we learned to create poisons more deadly than any gland could produce. We did not evolve telepathy because we learned something far more dangerous." "What is that?" "We learned to lie. We learned to plan. We learned to work together against enemies bigger and stronger than us. We learned to never give up, even when every logical calculation said we should." The Queen's antennae moved rapidly, a sign of agitation. "This changes nothing. My fleet will crush your defenses within days." "Maybe," Marcus said, "but I do not think so. You have conquered species that relied on their biology. You have never faced a species that conquered its own world by transcending biology. You do not understand what you are fighting." The Queen turned away from him and addressed her officers. "Begin the attack. Destroy their orbital stations first, then their military bases. Show them the cost of defiance." The warships began to move. Weapons powered up, glowing purple against the black of space. Marcus watched in silence as the first shots were fired toward his home. He did not feel fear. He did not feel despair. He felt something the Queen would never understand. He felt pride. Humanity had made its choice. Now the Velkhari would learn what that choice truly meant. The invasion was supposed to last 3 days. That was what the Velkhari War Council had calculated. 3 days to destroy Earth's defenses, 3 more to secure the major cities, and within a week, humanity would be kneeling before the Queen like every other conquered species. It was now the 4th week. Marcus stood in the observation deck as reports flooded in from across the battlefield. The Velkhari officers were not confused anymore. Now they were worried. Some of them were afraid. The clicking of their language filled the air, faster and more urgent than before. The Queen stood before a massive holographic display showing the space around Earth. Red dots marked Velkhari ships. Blue dots marked human vessels. When the invasion began, the red dots had outnumbered the blue by 50 to 1. That number had changed. "Report," the Queen commanded. An officer stepped forward. His antennae were flat against his head, a sign of stress. "We have lost 47 ships in the last rotation. The humans continue to attack in waves. They strike quickly, retreat, then strike again from a different direction." "Their ships are inferior to ours," the Queen said. "How are they destroying so many?" "They fight in shifts, my Queen. Their crews rotate every 8 hours. Fresh pilots replace tired ones. Fresh gunners replace exhausted ones. Our crews have been fighting continuously for days. They are making mistakes. They are slow to respond." The Queen's claws scraped against the metal floor. "Tell them to fight harder." "They cannot, my Queen. The Velkhari body requires rest. Our soldiers are collapsing at their stations." Marcus watched from his corner of the deck. The guards had stopped paying attention to him weeks ago. They had bigger problems now. The Queen turned to another officer. "What of the ground invasion?" This officer looked even more troubled than the first. "Our forces have secured 3 landing zones, but we cannot advance beyond them. The humans attack constantly, day and night. They use weapons we have not seen before, explosives hidden in buildings, traps buried in roads, snipers who fire from kilometers away and disappear before we can find them. Kill them all." "We are trying, my Queen, but for every human we kill, more appear. They are recruiting new soldiers faster than we can eliminate them. Old humans who should be resting are picking up weapons. Young humans who have never fought are joining the battle. Even their children are carrying supplies and messages." Marcus spoke for the first time in days. "You do not understand, do you?" Every eye in the room turned to him. The Queen's gaze was like ice. "Explain," she demanded. Marcus walked forward slowly. The guards moved to stop him, but the Queen raised a hand. She wanted to hear what he had to say. "You conquered the Droth because they fought alone," Marcus said. "Each warrior was independent. When you killed their leaders, the rest scattered. You conquered the Minari because they only fought when their territory was threatened. Once you surrounded them, they gave up. You conquered the Scythans because they relied on their telepathy. When you developed shields against their mental attacks, they had nothing left." He stopped a few feet from the Queen. "But humans are different. We do not fight alone. We fight together. A human soldier does not battle for himself. He battles for his family, for his friends, for people he has never met and will never know. He fights for ideas, for freedom, for the future." "Ideas cannot stop weapons," the Queen said. "No, but ideas cannot be killed. You can shoot a human soldier, but you cannot shoot what he believes in. You can destroy a human city, but you cannot destroy the memory of what that city meant. Every time you kill one of us, you give the rest of us a reason to fight harder." The Queen's antennae twitched rapidly. "This is madness." "No, this is humanity." Marcus gestured toward the holographic display. "Look at your fleet. You came here with 1,000 ships. You have lost almost 100. How many have we lost?" An officer answered reluctantly. "The humans have lost over 300 vessels." And how many do they have now? Silence. Then the officer checked his data. His voice was quiet when he spoke. They have more than when the war began. They are building new ships faster than we are destroying them. The Queen stared at the display. The blue dots had indeed multiplied. Factories on Earth were working around the clock. Shipyards in orbit were producing vessels at a rate the Velkari had never imagined possible. How? She demanded. Marcus thought about his species. He thought about the ice ages that had nearly wiped them out and how they had survived. He thought about the predators that had hunted them and how humans had hunted those predators to extinction. He thought about the diseases that had killed millions and how humans had created vaccines and medicines to fight back. He thought about the wars humans had fought against each other and how each war had taught them to build better weapons, better strategies, better ways to survive. We evolved on a planet that tried to kill us every day, Marcus said. We survived droughts and floods. We survived plagues and famines. We survived predators with teeth and claws far more dangerous than yours, and we survived each other. For 10,000 years, humans have been fighting wars. We have been learning. We have been improving. We have been getting stronger. He looked directly into the Queen's black eyes. You are not the first enemy we have faced. You are not the strongest. You are not the most dangerous. You are simply the latest. The Queen said nothing for a long moment. When she finally spoke, her voice was different. The certainty was gone. What are you saying? I am saying that you made a mistake. You looked at humans and saw soft skin and weak bodies. You saw creatures without claws or venom or armor. You thought we were prey. Marcus smiled. It was not a kind smile. You were wrong. We are not prey. We are the thing that prey becomes when it learns to fight back. We are the survivors. We are the adapters. We are the ones who refuse to die, no matter how hard the universe tries to kill us. He turned and walked back to his corner of the deck. Your armada is dying. Your soldiers are exhausted. And my people are just getting started. Enjoy the view while you can, Your Majesty. It is going to get worse. The Queen watched him go. For the first time since he had known her, she did not have a response. The war continued, and humanity kept fighting. 3 months had passed since the invasion began. The observation deck of the mothership was quieter now. Half the stations were empty. The officers who remained moved slowly, their movements heavy with exhaustion and defeat. Queen Sitharix rarely left the deck anymore. She stood before the holographic display hour after hour, watching the disaster unfold. Her purple skin had grown dull. Her antennae drooped. The confident ruler who had promised a quick victory was gone. In her place stood something Marcus had never expected to see. A queen who was losing. The display told the story clearly. The 1,000 ships she had brought were now less than 400. The human fleet had grown to nearly double that number. The landing zones on Earth had been abandoned weeks ago. The ground forces pulled back after suffering losses no Velkari commander had ever experienced. Marcus approached her slowly. She did not turn to look at him. Your supply lines are failing, he said. It was not a question. The Queen's voice was hollow. Our nearest base is 4 light-years away. The ships carrying food and fuel are being attacked before they reach us. Your people have learned to predict our routes. And your soldiers. Starving, tired, losing hope. She finally turned to face him. How do you know these things? You are a prisoner. You have no access to our communications. I watch, I listen, I learn. Marcus paused. It is what humans do. The Queen made a sound that was almost like a bitter laugh. You told me this once. I did not believe you. She looked back at the display. I have ruled for 200 years. I have never lost a war. I have never even come close to losing. My generals told me humans would fall quickly. They told me your species was too divided, too weak, too primitive to resist. Your generals were wrong. Yes, the word came out like a breath. They were wrong about everything. An officer approached nervously. My queen, We have received another message from Earth. Display it. Admiral Chen appeared on the screen again. She looked tired but strong. Behind her, Marcus could see a map showing human forces pushing outward from Earth, reclaiming the space the Velkari had taken. Queen Sitharix, the Admiral said, your fleet is broken, your supply lines are cut. Your soldiers are surrendering by the hundreds. This war is over. You have lost. The Queen stiffened. Even in defeat, her pride remained. The Velkari do not surrender. I am not asking you to surrender, Admiral Chen replied. I am telling you to retreat. Take your remaining ships and leave our system. Return to your empire. Do not come back. And if I refuse, then we will destroy every ship you have left. The choice is yours. The transmission ended. The Queen stood motionless. Her officers watched her, waiting for orders. Some of them, Marcus noticed, looked relieved. They wanted to leave. They wanted to go home. You should listen to her, Marcus said quietly. The Queen turned on him. For a moment, anger flashed in her eyes. You dare give me advice? You, a prisoner, a creature from a species I came to conquer. I am giving you wisdom, Marcus replied calmly. There is a difference. You have lost this war. That is clear. The question now is whether you want to lose everything. What do you mean? Marcus stepped closer. I have lived among your people for more than 3 years. I have learned your history. You built your empire through conquest, but you maintained it through fear. Other species obey you because they believe the Velkari cannot be defeated. He gestured toward the display. What happens when they learn the truth? What happens when news of this war spreads? When the Droth and the Minari and the Scythans discover that a species with no claws, no venom, no telepathy fought the mighty Velkari to a standstill and won. The Queen's antennae went rigid. She understood. Your empire will collapse, Marcus continued. Every species you have conquered will see their chance. They will rise up. They will rebel. And you will not have the ships or the soldiers to stop them all. You would do this. The Queen's voice was barely a whisper. You would spread word of your victory to destroy my empire. I did not say that. I said it is what will happen if you continue this war. Marcus paused. But there is another path. What path? Leave now. Retreat with dignity. Tell your empire that you chose to withdraw, that humans were not worth conquering, that you had better uses for your resources. The other species will have no proof of your defeat. Your empire will remain stable. Your rule will continue. The Queen stared at him. Why would you offer me this? Your people hate us. We invaded your world. We killed your soldiers. Why help us save face? It was a good question. Marcus thought about it carefully before answering. Because I have spent 3 years watching your species, he said. I have seen cruelty, yes, but I have also seen mothers caring for their young. I have seen workers building things with skill and pride. I have seen artists creating beauty. Your species is not evil. You are simply doing what you were taught, conquering because you believe it is the only way. He looked at the display, at the broken fleet, at the distant glow of Earth. My people have learned a different lesson. We learned that true power is not about conquest. It is about choice. The choice to fight or to forgive. The choice to destroy or to build. The choice to hate or to understand. The Queen said nothing for a long time. When she finally spoke, her voice was very small. I do not understand your species. I know, Marcus said, but maybe one day you will. The Queen turned to her officers. Her voice was firm again, commanding, but there was something different in it now. Something that might have been humility. Recall all ships, set course for Velkari space. We are leaving. The officers moved quickly, relief evident in their movements. Messages went out. Ships began to turn away from Earth. The invasion was ending. Marcus watched through the great crystal windows as the fleet began its slow retreat. Behind them, Earth gleamed blue and white against the stars. They had won, but he knew the war was not truly over. It was only beginning a new chapter. The human fleet surrounded the Velkari mothership like wolves circling a wounded animal. Marcus could count 200 vessels through the observation deck windows. Destroyers, cruisers, carriers. Ships that had not existed 6 months ago, built by a species that had been told it was too primitive to fight. The war was over. The Velkari had retreated to this final position, their queen's flagship the last ship that had not fled back to their empire. The rest of the fleet was gone, limping home through the darkness of space to deliver news of the impossible defeat. Queen Sitheric stood alone at the center of the deck. Her officers had abandoned their stations. Some had surrendered. Others had locked themselves in their quarters, waiting for whatever came next. The great queen of the Velkari Empire stood surrounded by empty chairs and dark screens, her 4 arms hanging at her sides. Marcus walked across the deck toward her. No guards tried to stop him. There were no guards left. "Your fleet is requesting permission to board," he said. The queen did not respond. She was staring out the window at the human ships, her black eyes reflecting their lights. "They are not going to destroy us," Marcus continued. "Admiral Chen has offered terms. Your crew will be treated as prisoners of war under human law. They will be fed, housed, and eventually returned to your empire." Still silence. Marcus stopped beside her. For 3 years he had been her prisoner. He had endured her questions, her mockery, her certainty that his species was nothing more than prey waiting to be caught. Now their positions were reversed. She was surrounded by his people. Her fate was in human hands. He felt no satisfaction in this, only a strange sadness. "You never answered my question," he said softly. "Do you remember, the day you announced the invasion, I asked if you had ever wondered why humans have no natural weapons?" The queen finally moved. She turned her head slowly to look at him. "You said it was because you did not need them, because you learned to make things sharper and deadlier than biology could provide." That was part of the answer, but not the most important part. "Then tell me," her voice was empty, defeated. "Tell me the truth. I have lost everything, my fleet, my army, my pride. At least give me understanding." Marcus nodded. He had been waiting 3 years to say this. "Humans do not have natural weapons because we evolved to use something more powerful," he said. "We evolved to use our minds, not just for making tools or solving problems, but for something far more difficult." "What?" "We evolved to understand other minds, to feel what others feel, to see the world through eyes that are not our own." Marcus paused. "We call it empathy." The queen's antennae twitched. "I do not know this word." "It means the ability to share the emotions of another creature, to feel their pain, their joy, their fear, their hope." Marcus looked out at the human fleet. "It is the reason we form families, the reason we build communities, the reason we sacrifice ourselves for strangers we will never meet." "This sounds like weakness," the queen said. "Many species think so, but they are wrong. Empathy is our greatest strength. It is why we fight so hard when someone threatens the people we love. It is why we never gave up during this war, even when the odds were impossible. Every human who died was someone's child, someone's parent, someone's friend. And every other human felt that loss and fought harder because of it." The queen was silent for a long moment. Then she asked, "Why are you telling me this?" Marcus turned to face her fully. "Because empathy is also the reason your species will survive." "I do not understand." "Your people came here to conquer us. You killed our soldiers. You destroyed our cities. You caused pain and suffering that will take generations to heal." Marcus's voice remained calm. "By the laws of war, by the rules of nature, we should destroy you in return. We should burn your ships and hunt your people and make sure the Velkari never threaten anyone again." The queen straightened slightly. She seemed to be preparing herself for the sentence she expected to hear. "But we are not going to do that," Marcus said. For the first time, something like confusion appeared on the queen's alien face. "Why?" Because empathy works both ways. I have lived among your people for 3 years. I have seen your culture, your families, your art, your dreams. You are different from us, but you are not monsters. You are simply a species that never learned there was another way to exist. Marcus reached out his hand. It was a human gesture, strange and foreign to the Velkari, but the Queen had studied humans long enough to know what it meant. Admiral Chen is prepared to offer more than just surrender terms, Marcus said. She is prepared to offer peace, not the peace of conquest where one side kneels and the other rules. Real peace, trade, communication, exchange, a chance for our species to learn from each other. The Queen stared at his extended hand. You would offer alliance to your enemies. We would offer alliance to people who want to stop being enemies. My empire will see this as weakness. My generals will say I have betrayed our traditions. Maybe they will see it as wisdom. You told me once that the Velkari have ruled through fear for 10,000 years, but fear only lasts as long as you are the strongest. Sooner or later, someone stronger always comes along. Marcus kept his hand extended. Would you rather rule through fear or through respect? The Queen looked at his hand. That soft, clawless, impossibly dangerous hand. The hand of a species that should have been prey but had become something else entirely. I have conquered 17 species, she said quietly. I have destroyed civilizations. I have ordered the deaths of billions, and you would forgive all of this. No, Marcus said. Forgiveness takes time, it takes work. It takes proof that change is real. What I am offering is a chance to start down a different path. What you do with that chance is up to you. The Queen stood in silence for a very long time. Outside the windows, the human fleet waited. On the deck, the empty stations hummed with idle power. The universe held its breath. Then, slowly, Queen Scythrix reached out one of her clawed hands and placed it in Marcus's palm. Her grip was gentle, careful, as if she was holding something fragile and precious. I accept, she said. Marcus smiled, not in victory, not in triumph, just in hope. Then let us begin. The Queen had no words. She had ruled through conquest her entire life. She had measured power in ships and soldiers and territory. She had believed that strength meant the ability to destroy. Now she understood the truth. The humans had shown her a different kind of power, the power to choose mercy when destruction was easier, the power to build bridges when walls were safer, the power to see an enemy and imagine a friend. This was the true strength of humanity, not their weapons, not their persistence, not their refusal to surrender. Their ability to forgive. Queen Scythrix, ruler of the Velkari Empire, conqueror of 17 worlds, stood before this strange, soft creature who had taught her more in 3 years than she had learned in 2 centuries of war. And for the first time in her life, she had nothing to say. She could only stand in silence. And that silence was the beginning of peace.